My name's Emily. I'm just a regular American girl from Chicago who thought I had it all figured out until I didn't. If you've ever loved someone so hard you lost pieces of yourself along the way. If you've ever sacrificed your dreams and still got your heart handed back to you, stay right here with me, because I'm finally ready to tell the whole story. The butterflies, the tears, the nights I couldn't breathe, and the morning I finally chose myself again. If any of this already feels familiar, smash that like button for me right now. It really helps. Let's get into it. I was 27 when it started living in Chicago. I had a solid senior marketing manager job at a big downtown agency. Corner office with a view of the river. Company car, 401k matching, the whole 9 yards. My parents were proud. Mom would brag to her book club about how her daughter made it in the city. Had a cute apartment in Lincoln Park. Sunday brunch traditions with my girls. And this quiet little dream of maybe buying a house in the suburbs one day. Life felt safe, predictable, mine. Then my best friend Sarah got married that June. The wedding was at this beautiful lakeside venue outside the city. That's where I met Ryan. God, he was impossible not to notice. 6'2", messy dark hair, that easy, confident smile that made everyone around him relax. He was the best man. I was a bridesmaid. We ended up sitting next to each other at the key reception and talked for 4 straight hours. He told me he was from Seattle originally, but had been bouncing around for work. He had this big dream of launching his own tech, start up something about AI for small businesses. I told him about my late nights at the agency and how sometimes I wondered if I was building someone else's dream instead of my own. For the first time in forever, someone actually listened. Like, really listened. He asked questions. He remembered details. By the end of the night, he had my number, and I had that fluttery feeling in my chest I hadn't felt since college. We fell fast. Like, ridiculously fast. He'd text me at 2 a.m. just to say he couldn't. Stop thinking about my laugh. I'd drive 3 hours to meet him halfway on weekends. My friends teased me about how I was whipped already, but I didn't care. For once I felt seen, understood, like someone finally got the real me underneath the polished marketing professional exterior. 6 months later, Ryan got the call. A big venture capital firm in Austin, Texas wanted to give him seed funding, but only if he relocated immediately and built the company there. He called me from the airport, voice cracking with excitement. This is it. This is our chance. But I can't do it without you. I didn't even hesitate. I turned down the promotion they'd just offered me, the one with the big raise, and the corner office I'd been eyeing for 2 years. I listed my Chicago apartment and sold it in 3 weeks. I packed up the life I'd spent a decade building and told my parents I was moving to Texas. Mom cried on the phone. Dad got quiet the way he does when he's worried. Honey, are you sure? He asked. I told him I'd never been sure of anything in my life. Ryan said we were a team. He said he needed me. And I believed him with every piece of my heart. Moving day was a blur of U-Haul boxes and happy tears. Ryan met me at the Austin airport with flowers and this huge grin. We drove straight to the little 2-bedroom apartment he'd already rented in South Congress. It smelled like fresh paint and possibility. That first night, we sat on the floor eating takeout, Thai food with plastic forks, and I remember thinking, this is what love looks like. This is what it feels like to choose someone and build something together. I threw myself into it completely. I became his unofficial co-founder. I handled all the marketing, investor pitch decks, social media, branding, the works. I used the last of my savings to help cover the office rent when the first round of funding got delayed. I worked 2 jobs for a while, freelance, gigs during the day, and helping him code at night, even though I barely understood half of it. When my mom had to have minor surgery back in Chicago, I told her I couldn't fly home because the startup needs me right now. I ignored the guilt that sat heavy in my stomach. I told myself this was temporary. Once the company took off, we'd be set. We'd get married, buy a house with a backyard, maybe even start a family. I could see it so clearly. But slowly, the cracks started showing. Ryan started working later and later. He'd come home after midnight smelling like coffee and stress. He'd snap at me over little things, the way I loaded the dishwasher, how my negative energy was affecting his focus, even the clothes I wore to meetings. You used to be so put together, Em, he'd say. I started losing weight from the anxiety. 22 pounds in 6 months. My friends back home stopped texting as much because every time they called, I'd defend him. He's just under pressure, I'd say. You don't understand. One night, I found a message on his phone from someone named Sarah, investor call. It wasn't business. The texts were flirty, late night, the kind that made my stomach drop to the floor. When I confronted him, he cried. Actual tears. He pulled me into his arms and swore she was just helping with connections, that I was being insecure because of my own stress. He promised I was the only one. He held me so tight and whispered that he loved me more than anything. I believed him, because admitting I might have thrown my entire life away for a lie was too terrifying. So I stayed. I pushed the doubt down and kept showing up for us. 18 months in, the startup still wasn't profitable. Bills were piling up. I was exhausted, working freelance marketing jobs during the day and helping Ryan until 3 a.m. My savings were completely gone. My parents had stopped calling every week because every conversation ended with me crying and them begging me to come home. My best friend Sarah flew down once for a surprise visit. She took one look at me, pale, thin, eyes puffy from crying, and literally sat me down on the couch and begged me to leave. "Emily, this isn't you. You're disappearing," she said. I told her she didn't understand love. I told her we were going to make it. I sent her home early. The panic attacks started around then. I'd lock myself in the bathroom so Ryan wouldn't hear me gasping for air. I'd stare at my reflection and not even recognize the girl looking back. Where was the confident Chicago girl who had dreams of her own? She was gone. I had given her away piece by piece for him. Then came that Tuesday in February. It was raining, the kind of Texas downpour that makes everything feel heavier. I'd cooked his favorite, homemade lasagna, the recipe my grandma taught me. I'd set the table with candles, even though I was dead tired from pulling another double shift. Ryan walked in late again. He didn't even look at the food. He just stood there in the doorway with his coat still on and said, "I'm done pretending. I need space. I need to focus on the company, and I can't do that with you here dragging me down." I laughed at first, nervous, disbelieving laughter. I thought he was joking. Then I saw the suitcase already packed behind him. Everything inside me shattered. I begged. I cried so hard my voice broke. I reminded him of every single thing I'd given up. The promotion, my apartment, my family, my savings, my friends, my entire identity. I told him I had nowhere to go. My Chicago place was sold. My bank account was empty. My parents had warned me, and I'd shut them out for him. He just looked at me with this pity, not love, not even anger, just tired pity. Then he said the words that still wake me up some nights. "You changed. You became too much. You need too much from me. I need someone who lifts me up, not someone who needs me to carry them." He walked out. The door clicked shut behind him. I collapsed right there in the hallway, sobbing so hard I couldn't catch my breath. The lasagna sat cold on the table. Rain hammered the windows like it was crying with me. I stayed on that floor until the sun came up, replaying every moment, every sacrifice, wondering how I let myself disappear so completely. The first week, I didn't leave the apartment. I slept on the couch because the bed still smelled like his cologne. I called my mom at 3 a.m. and just cried into the phone like a little kid. She didn't say, "I told you so." She just whispered, "Come home, sweetheart. We've been waiting for you." It took everything I had, but I sold what little I had left, packed a single suitcase, and flew back to Chicago. My parents met me at the airport with open arms and no judgment. I moved into my old bedroom for a while. I got a job, not the fancy corner office one I'd turned down, but a steady marketing role at a smaller firm that actually valued work-life balance. I started seeing a therapist every week. For the first time in 2 years, I talked about everything: the love, the loss, the way I'd betrayed myself. Slowly, something beautiful started happening. I woke up one morning, and the heavy weight in my chest was a little lighter. I joined a women's hiking group on the weekends. I laughed, real loud belly laughs, with my old friends again. I apologized to my parents on my knees one night at dinner, tears streaming down my face. They hugged me and told me they were just glad to have their daughter back. I looked in the mirror one random Tuesday and realized the girl staring back was stronger than she'd ever been. She had scars, sure, but she also had boundaries. She had dreams again. She had herself. The hardest lesson I learned, the one I want every single person watching this to hear, is that real? Love should never cost you your entire self. The right person will never make you choose between them and your peace. Your family, your future. Love should add to your life, not subtract until there's nothing left. Thank you for sitting here with me through the hardest chapter of my life. Just by listening, you helped me feel a little less alone.